All right, guys. Sorry. Sorry, I'm not sure if the volume worked before, but this is lesson 6 on expressions and equations. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Algebra talk. When x is 6, that means you have to plug in 6 for x. So if we have this one becomes 6 plus 4, which equals 10. And then we have this one. Plug in 6 for x. Becomes 7 minus 6, which equals 1. And this one, we have 6 squared, which is the same as 6 times 6, and that equals 36. And this one, we have 1/3 of 6. So you can do either 2 ways. You can split 6 into 3 groups because we want 1/3 of it. So something plus something plus something is equal to 6. So we have 2. So that means 1/3 of 6 would be 2. You can multiply straight across. I'm going to rewrite it right here. 1/3 times 6 over 1. Because when we're multiplying, we need a number on top and bottom. So we have 6/3. And if you divide 6 divided by 3, you get 2. Alrighty. Ooh, filling in tables. We can do this. Lynn set up a lemonade stand. She sells lemonade for 50 cents per cup. Complete the table to show how much money she would collect if she sold each number of cups. Okay, so we had 50 cents for each cup. If she sold C number of cups, every cup is 50 cents. Sorry, I have to get my calculator. So that means every cup, we're going to multiply by 50 cents. Our equation would be number of cups times 50 cents. So if she sold 12 cups, we have 12 times 50 cents. So she made $6. Now what if she sold 183 cups? 183 times 50 cents. She made $91.50. Ooh, now we have the amount she made. So before, when we were going from here to here, we did times 50, or 50 cents. If you're going to do the opposite, what would the opposite of multiplying by 50, or by 50 cents be? Well, the opposite of multiplying would be to divide by 50 cents. Okay, so if I now take the amount she made, clear, $127.50 divided by 50 cents, she sold 255 cups. Oh, I wrote the wrong number. 255. B says, how many cups did she sell if she collected $127.50? Be prepared to explain your reasoning. Well, we already found it was 255 cups because when you are selling cups, you're making half as much as you made. So if you made 12 cups of lemonade, you only make $6. So you're making half as much. But when you have your dollar amount and you're going up, you're making twice as much. Because we're at $6 and we go up to 12 cups. And dividing by 50 cents is the same as multiplying by 2. Number 2, Elena is 59 inches tall. Some other people are taller than Elena. Complete the table. Whew. So how much taller than Elena inches? So Elena is 59. We're going to write that down right here so we remember. Okay, the person's height. So Andre is 4 inches taller than Elena. So how tall is Andre? So Andre is 59 plus 4 more inches. So 59, 60, 61, 62, 63. So he is 63 inches. Lynn is 6.5 inches taller. So we're going to have 59 inches plus 6.5. And that would be 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65 and a half. Noah, we don't know how much taller he is in this scenario. But we know that it's Elena's height plus Noah's height. So we have 59 plus Noah's height, which is D. We aren't sure what it is yet. B, if Noah is 64 and 3/4 inches tall, how much taller is he than Elena? Well, let's finish this equation and let's write Noah, N for Noah's height. So let's plug in what we know. We don't know how much taller he is, but we know how tall he is. So we have 59 inches plus how much taller he is. We aren't sure what that is. And it equals his actual height, 64 and 3/4. So just like yesterday when we were talking about solving equations and you do the opposite of what it is, well, this has no sign in front of it, so that means it's positive. And the opposite of a positive 59 would be a negative 59. I'm going to do that on both sides. And 59 is a whole. We have 0/4 left, so we're going to keep our 3/4 because we're not going to take anything away from it. And then we have 4 minus 9. Well, we can't do that, so we're going to have to borrow. Now I have 14 minus 9, which is 5. Our 59 minus 59 cancel out, and we get our answer. He is 5 inches and 5 3/4 inches taller than Elena. And we don't need to write it down, but that way we know what we solve. This double line right here, that means inches. Next. Lots of problems. Alrighty. Claire is 5 years older than her cousin. That is a fact. Okay, how old would Claire be if her cousin is 10, 2, and X years old? Well, her cousin, we don't know the age, so is X. Older than, so that's plus. It's kind of like more than. So Claire is 5 years older than her cousin. Okay, so our equation would be 5 plus X equals Claire's age. How old would Claire be if her cousin is, so now her cousin is 10 years old. So I have 5 plus 10. So Claire would be 15. Here, her cousin is 2. So 2 is my X value. 5 plus 2. Claire would then be 7. And this last one, X years. If we don't know how old the cousin is, we would just keep it at 5 plus X equals, I'm just going to put a C for Claire. B, Claire is 12 years old. How old is Claire's cousin? So we're going to plug our information into our equation. So our equation is 5 plus X, and that equals Claire's age. Well, Claire is 12. So 5 plus what equals 12? I should have done it over here so we had more room to write, but that's okay. So if we're solving our equation, the opposite of a positive 5 would be a negative 5.
Good morning,
All right, sorry about that. So I did minus 5 over here. I have to do minus 5 right here. Since I don't have room, I'm going to move my equation over. My 5's cancel out, leaving me with just x equals, and 12 minus 5 is 7. So that means Claire's cousin is 7 years old. Alrighty. Diego has 3 times as many comic books as Han. 3 times as many comic books as Han. Do we know how many comic books Han has? We don't. So Han is our X. He's our unknown. And it would equal Diego, because has means equal. So our equation, I'm going to write it right here, is 3 times X, and X is our Han because we don't know how many books he has, and that equals Diego. How many comic books does Diego have if Han has 6 comic books? So let's plug in our 6. 3 times 6 tells us how many books Diego has. 3 times 6 is 18. How many comic books does Diego have if Han has n books? Well, we already wrote our equation, so I'm going to draw an arrow up to it. Alrighty, Diego has 27 books. How many comic books does Han have? So remember, that's our opposite, because we know what Diego has. If we're using this equation, I'm going to do my work right here so I have a little bit more room. So we have 3 times Han equals Diego, and Diego has 27. Alrighty, so we need to solve our equation. Well, this says 3 times x. The opposite of multiplying by 3 would be to divide by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, which leaves us with 1x. And 27 divided by 3 is 9. So that means Han has 9 comic books. 3. 2/5 of the vegetables in Prea's garden are tomatoes. Okay, so we have 2/5 of the vegetables are tomatoes. So I'm going to start here. We're going to use X for our vegetables, and we're going to use T for tomatoes. So we have 2/5, that is a fraction, times number of vegetables, which is our X, equals tomatoes. So now let's plug it in over here. How many tomatoes are there? Prea's garden has 20 vegetables. So we have 2/5 times, I'm going to make my 20 a fraction where it's 20 over 1 because that doesn't change its value. That's going to tell us how many tomatoes there are. So we have 2 times 20, which is 40. And then we have 5 times 1, which is 5. And our problem now says 40/5, or 40 divided by 5. 40 divided by 5 is 8. So 8 tomato plants. If Prea's garden has 6 tomatoes, how many total vegetables are there? So we're going to have to use some room over here. So we're going to write our equation. So we have 2/5 times, we don't know, equals 6. Alrighty, well, what's the opposite of multiplying by 2/5? That would mean we needed to divide by 2/5. So I'm going to draw my line. Divide by 2/5. Divide by 2/5. If you know how to convert a division of fractions, go for it. If you don't, then we're going to have to use our calculator and solve it. So we have 2/5 divided by 2/5 is 1. So we have x equals, and if I use my calculator, if you would calculate this, you have a button right above your 7 a little bit. It says A and then with a B dash C. That's a fraction key. So if I were to do 6 divided by, and I'm going to put my fraction in parentheses. So I'm going to do a parenthesis, a 2, the fraction button, the ABC, 5. I'm going to close off my parenthesis. I'm going to hit equals 15. So x is equal to 15. How many total vegetables? 15 total vegetables. For a school paid $31.25 for each calculator. If the school bought X calculators, how much did they pay? So the school paid, and we have calculators. And calculators is saying it's X. So we have, they paid $31.25 for each, so multiplying calculator equals total. The school spent $500 on calculators. How much did the school buy? So we have to rewrite our equation. Do we know how many calculators? That we don't know. So we have X calculators, and it equals 500. Try this on your own. Whoops. And show me. That brings us to the Are You Ready for More? Which those are to try on your own if you want. If you have questions on it, you can ask. This one is not extra credit, but you're more than welcome to try it out. It'll be good practice for you. And that brings you to your Lesson 6 summary.